Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramam Suparipraj Kacharya Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Welcome, everybody, to Srimad Bhagavatam reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. We are beginning today with Srimad Bhagavatam 4:23:8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, Kumars?
I think we didn't finish 7.
Okay,
Right?
I missed that. Sorry. I'm not sure.
I think we're still in the midst of the purport to
Okay,
7.
confirmed by Praveen Prabhu. Mid-7. Yes, I made a mistake there. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Maybe I should begin because I know where we are. Let's see. Titikshurya tabhagatanta urdvareta jitanilaha harirad tayeshu krishnam acharatapa uttamam. Maharaj Prithu underwent all these severe austerities in order to control his words and his senses, to refrain from discharging his semen, and to control the life air within his body. All this he did for the satisfaction of Krishna. He had no other purpose. Continuing where we left off, Although Prithu Maharaj executed his austerities long before the appearance of Lord Krishna on this planet, his purpose was still to please Krishna. Okay. Also of significance. I assume that it's okay that I'm here at this point.
Yeah.
There are many fools who claim that worship of Krishna began only about 5,000 years ago, after the appearance of Lord Krishna in India. But this is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj worshipped Krishna millions of years ago, for Prithu happened to be a descendant of the family of Maharaj Dhruva, who reigned for 36,000 years during the Satya Yuga age. Unless his total lifespan was 100,000 years, how could Dhruva Maharaj reign over the world for 36,000 years? Point is that Krishna worship existed at the beginning of creation and has continued to exist throughout Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. And now it is continuing in Kali Yuga. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna appears not only in this millennium of Brahma's life, but in every millennium. Therefore, worship of Krishna is conducted in all millenniums. It is not that Krishna worship began only when Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago. This is a foolish conclusion that is not substantiated by Vedic literatures. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Ayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadhati Shapadam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripasindho Pyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare. This discussion comes because the verse mentions Krishna. Arirad Taishu Krishna Achurat Tapu Uttamam. Maharaj Prithu acted for the satisfaction of Krishna. He had no other purpose. So Prabhupada points out that this worship of Krishna was going on in a previous age. Not that this began 5,000 years ago, or still earlier if you're an Indologist of some sort, speculating about what these Hindu people were doing. It's been going on for a long, long time. Also of significance in this verse are the words Arirad Krishnam Acharat Tapa Uttamam. Maharaj Pitu underwent severe types of austerities for the express purpose of worshipping Krishna. Krishna is so kind, especially in this age, that he appears in the transcendental vibration of his holy name. As it is said in the Narada Pancharatra, Aradhito yadi haris tapasa tata kim. If Krishna is worshipped, if he is the goal of advancement, there's no need for one to execute severe types of austerity, severe types of tapasya, because one has already reached his destination. If after executing all types of tapasya one cannot reach Krishna, all his tapasya has no value. For without Krishna, all austerity is simply wasted labor, shrama evahi kevalam. We should therefore not be discouraged just because we cannot go to the forest and practice severe austerities. Our life is so short that we must strictly adhere to the principles laid down by the Vaishnava Acharyas and peacefully execute Krishna consciousness. There's no need to become despondent. Narottama Das Thakur recommends Ananda Bola Hari Bhadra Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Majayam. For a transcendental, blissful life, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, come worship the holy place of Vrindavan, and always engage in the service of the Lord, of the spiritual master, and of the Vaishnavas. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore very safe and easy. We have only to execute the order of the Lord and fully surrender unto him. If we have only to execute the order of the spiritual master, preach Krishna consciousness, and follow in the path of the Vaishnavas, yes, we have only to do that. Spiritual master represents both Lord Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, by following the instructions of the spiritual master and by chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be all right. Hare Krishna.
Saraswati Machi, would you be able to take the chat?
Yes. Pranams Param Pujya Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. We have something in the chat box from Praveen Prabhuji. His question is, isn't it true that worship of Lord Chaitanya started only 500 years ago when the Lord appeared?
As far as I know, yes, although Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has his Navadip Dham Mahatmya, where, if I recall, references are to previous times. But I don't have anything more really to say about that.
Gurudev, do you have someone there that could read text 8?
Any text 8 readers?
Sure. Yes.
We do,
Thank you.
namely Mukunda Charan.
Hare Krishna. Text 8. Kena Karmana Siddhena Dvashta Karma Malashaya Pranayama Saniruddha Shadvargas Chinnabandanaha. By thus practicing severe austerities, Maharaj Prithu gradually became steadfast in spiritual life and completely free of all desires for fruitive activities. He also practiced breathing exercises to control his mind and senses. And by such control, he became completely free from all desires for fruitive activity. Purport. The word pranayama is very important in this verse because the Hatha yogis and Ashtanga yogis practice pranayama but generally do not know the purpose behind it. The purpose of pranayama, or mystic yoga, is to stop the mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. The so-called yogis who practice in Western countries have no idea of this. The aim of pranayama is not to make the body strong and fit for working hard. The aim is worship of Krishna. In the previous verse, it was specifically mentioned that whatever austerity, pranayama, and mystic yoga practices Prithu Maharaja performed were performed for the sake of worshipping Krishna. Thus, Prithu Maharaj serves as a perfect example for yogis also. Whatever he did to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The minds of those who are addicted to fruitive activity are always filled with unclean desires. Fruitive activities are symptomatic of our polluted desire to dominate material nature. As long as one continues to be subject to polluted desires, he has to accept one material body after another. So-called yogis, without knowledge of the real purpose of yoga, practice it in order to keep the body fit. Thus, they engage themselves in fruitive activities, and thus they are bound by desire to accept another body. They are not aware that the ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna. In order to save such yogis from wandering throughout the different species of life, these Shastras warn that in this age, such yogic practice is simply a waste of time. The only means of elevation is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. King Prithu's activities took place in Satya Yuga, and in this age, this practice of yoga is misunderstood by fallen souls who are not capable of practicing anything. Consequently, these Shastras enjoin Kalau nastyeva gatiranyata. The conclusion is that unless the karmis, jnanis, and yogis come to the point of devotional service to Lord Krishna, their so-called austerities and yoga have no value. Naraditaha. If Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not worshipped, there is no point in practicing meditational yoga, performing karma yoga, or culturing empiric knowledge. As far as pranayama is concerned, chanting of the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy are also considered pranayama. In a previous verse, Sanat Kumar instructed Maharaj Prithu to engage constantly in the service of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Yet pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya karmashayam gatitam ud gatayanti santaha. Only by worshipping Vasudeva can one become free from the desires of fruitive activities. Outside of worshipping Vasudeva, the yogis and jnanis cannot attain freedom from such desires. Tadvanarikta matayo yatayo piruddha sroto ganas tamaranam bhaja Vasudevam. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 39. Here the word pranayama does not refer to any ulterior motive. The actual aim is to strengthen the mind and senses in order to engage them in devotional service. In the present age, this determination can be very easily acquired simply by chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
You can comment, say something.
Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unnilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namaha. In this verse and in this purport, it's a very amusing but very satisfying, philosophically satisfying point that there is value to various practices which are not inherently spiritual practices, such as bodily exercises, such as found in Hatha Yoga, other bodily exercises such as pranayama mentioned here, and we could also say that the further yamas too, the yamas and niyamas also, they aren't inherently spiritual, but they can be taken up for spiritual life. But so the yamas, the niyamas, pranayama, asana, these practices can be part of spiritual life when they're used to control the senses, ultimately to control one's engagements or regulate one's engagement in fruitive activities with the goal of ending fruitive activities. And so here, Srila Prabhupada points out that it's amusing how pranayama can be a spiritual practice when it's used to control the mind, control the senses, and get out of so much fruitive entanglement in fruitive activity. But in the modern age, people take up pranayama and other processes that they call yoga, not to disentangle themselves from fruitive activities, but to make more progress in their fruitive desires, achieving their fruitive desires. And they don't take up these processes to control the mind, but to get what the mind wants. So rather than becoming free from, the same thing applies with the yamas. When they practice, even though in the yamas there may be brahmacharya, maybe freedom from this illicit sexual activity or sexual activity in general, even though that's the first step in the Ashtanga Yoga process, people practice Hatha Yoga or other processes like pranayama in order to get a more fit body, be more attractive to the opposite sex, and engage in illicit sexual activity. And so there's something amusing, there's something ironic there, which Srila Prabhupada points out in this purport. That's one thing that comes to mind.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. I won't add anything. Unless there are any questions.
Well, I have one thing. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, I believe there's something, I haven't read Hari Bhakti Vilas. Someone mentioned to me that in Hari Bhakti Vilas, or sent an excerpt, that pranayama is recommended before japa. You're familiar with that? So Srila Prabhupada himself didn't seem to do it. Would we have any reason to discourage anyone from doing that if they find that's good for their own mental, controlling their mind before practicing japa?
I have no objection.
Yeah.
That pranayama means like 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Not a serious,
No, not
hours and hours of just a little something to make the mind peaceful.
Mm.
And it's there. Sanatana Goswami, I have it right, required, told us of this practice with apparent approval. Yes, it's just to fix the mind on chanting. Yes, just to fix the mind. A little bit.
Yeah. May I say one thing or ask one thing more? And maybe it's not so clear in my head, even the question, but that seems to fit sort of the category of practices which some devotees may find useful to them. So pranayama could be one. Even eating simply could be one. Some would, refer to, or they'd invoke the statement by Madhvacharya that one without a strong body can't have a strong mind. And so they'd emphasize that also disciplining the body, having some regular exercise is also good for controlling the mind. So this controlling your eating simply, exercise, pranayama, and so on. Some at least critique that in ISKCON there's a culture of dismissing these things. Do you have any? Would you like to say something about the value of ISKCON having a culture of dismissing those things, or ways where you see it may be excessive, and dismissing concern for exercise, dismissing concern for eating simply, dismissing these things?
No, we don't dismiss Prabhupada's giving these instructions. Well, of course, pranayams is a different thing, but as far as eating simply, living a regulated life, and so on, that's part of our program. Not that ISKCON is meant to dismiss these things. Of course, for spreading Krishna consciousness, we'll have opulent feasts and so on. But for our daily program, simple eating is better. You don't have to dismiss regulated life. It's part of our discipline. Not that we're just enjoyers of, what would you say? Yeah, we're not just enjoyers. It's chanting and control the mind and the senses. Yeah, our method is easier. Kevalananda Kanda. The yogis, Tadvan Narikta Matayo, Yatayo Piruddhas. They don't really think of Krishna. They're just trying to get some kinds of freedom in material existence. But it's hard for them. The waves of material desire can really pull them. But devotees are happily engaged in chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, they're not attracted by mind. Raso Varjam Raso Pyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. Yes. Sorry, I can't give a more cogent answer. A little exhausted this evening.
Of course.
But
That's good thing.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guru Maharaj, there's nothing in the chat box, but I have a question. So is it correct to understand that for Jnana Yoga, they're mostly concerned with obtaining knowledge in order to destroy all karma and get liberation, and Dhyana Yoga, they're also with the same goals, but for Dhyana Yoga, they're mostly interested in merging into the impersonal Brahma. So they're more interested in suppressing desires rather than purifying desires, which is what Bhakti Yoga does, but the goals are different. Is that a correct understanding?
Jnana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. I don't know that the goals are explicitly said to be different. Of course, you know how we take things. Jnana Yoga ultimately means Krishna consciousness. Jnana Yoga means meditation on Krishna, and therefore it's all Bhakti Yoga. That can also be said. But Jnana Yoga, yes, they want to, but Jnana Yoga can also involve the idea of merging with some impersonal ultimate truth. So their Gyan, their mental speculation, and their Dhyan, their meditation, generally is towards some impersonal object. But the devotees see Brahmano hi pratishtaham, that Krishna is the foundation, the resting place of all impersonal realization also. But the higher realization is personal. I hope that's all right.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. And we have something in the chat box from Prabhuji. One devotee argues, as long as they are under the three modes, you need the help of Varna ashram, pranayama, and astrology. These tools benefit your lifestyle for enhancing your bhakti. Question mark.
The varnashram is helpful. Pranayam may be a little helpful. Astrology is not so important. Prabhupada said that in one letter. Just see. Yeah, these things, it's not wrong that there's a verse. Let me see if I can find it for you quickly. Yes. The Tavat Karmani Kurubita, this was the 11th canto. Nirvidyeta Yavata Matkata Shamanada Va Shraddha Yavana Jayate. As long as one is not yet detached from sense gratification and has not yet awakened one's taste for devotional service by hearing and chanting about me, one should continue to perform the prescribed duties of the Vedic social system. Oh yes, varnashram is there. As long as one is under the three modes, then varnashram. Even the devotees, Sampashan, Arhasi, about Janak Maharaj and others, it was said that they performed their prescribed duties for the sake of showing others. And Lord Krishna wanted Arjuna to do that also. Hare Krishna.
We can move on to text 9. Priti Purna Madhvi, Mataji, would you be available to read text 9?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Sanat Kumaro Bhagavan Yad Ahadhyatmikam Param Yogam Teneva Purusham Abchat Purusharshava. Thus, the best amongst human beings, Maharaj Prithu followed that path of spiritual advancement which was advised by Sanat Kumara. That is to say, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In this verse, it is clearly said that Maharaj Prithu, practicing the pranayam yoga system, engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as advised by the saint Sanat Kumara. In this verse, the words Purusham, Abhijat, Purusharshabha are significant. Purusharshabha refers to Maharaj Prithu, the best amongst human beings, and Purusham refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion is that the best man amongst all men engages in the service of the Supreme Person. One Purusha is worshipable and the other Purusha is the worshipper. When the Purusha who worships the living entity thinks of becoming one with the Supreme Person, he simply becomes bewildered and falls into the darkness of ignorance. As stated by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, all living in 2.12, all living entities assembled in the battlefield, as well as Krishna himself, were also present in the past as individuals and would continue to be present in the future as individuals also. Therefore, the two Purushas, the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never lose their respective identities. Actually, one who is self-realized engages himself in the service of the Lord perpetually, both in this life and in the next. Indeed, for devotees, there is no difference between this life and the next. In this life, a neophyte devotee is trained to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead And in the next life, he approaches that Supreme Person in Vaikuntha and renders the same devotional service. Even for the neophyte devotee, devotional service is considered Brahma Bhuvai Kalpate, Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Devotional service to the Lord is never considered a material activity. Since he is acting on the Brahmabhut platform, a devotee is already liberated. He therefore has no need to practice any other type of yoga in order to approach the Brahmabhuta stage. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:30-20. If the devotee adheres strictly to the orders of the spiritual master, follows the rules and regulations, and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, it should be concluded that he is already at the Brahmabhuta stage as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mam chayo avabhicharen bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samtiyetan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. One who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Any comments, Mataji?
In this verse, just wanted this understanding that in the translation, it's mentioned he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. But exactly which form he worshipped, is it specifically Krishna or any other form? As he was meditating in Satyoga. So it's not clear from the Sanskrit verse to me.
It was mentioned in the previous verse that
Previous verse I missed.
you'll find explicitly Krishna. That's why Prabhupada did it on a one-time basis. Well, I won't finish that time. I won't finish any other thoughts because my thinking is interrupted this evening. So everyone else who has something to say, please chip in because again, I'm exhausted. There are different levels of exhaustion, and when you get to the stage where you don't remember your previous sentence, then you're definitely exhausted. And when you get to the stage where you're in the middle of the sentence and you don't know where it began, then you're really gone. So everyone else, today's your night for taking over the whole program.
Well, Pratipurna Mataji, so Maharaj mentioned that in a previous verse it mentioned Krishna specifically. Do you have any more thoughts on this verse or other questions or for anyone else?
No, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I have a question, and I'm wondering if maybe you, Mataji, or anyone else here would have an answer. Maybe Maharaj can join in if he feels energetic all of a sudden. But my question, the obvious question when verses like this come up, and I should know the answer to this by now, but somehow when they come up, I always don't. I'm not sure what the answer is supposed to be. Here we're talking, Srila Prabhupada speaking about in this purport that the devotee automatically, it comes to the, or I think even says, is on the Brahmabhuta stage. So even for a neophyte devotee, devotional service is considered Brahmabhuyaya Kolpate. It's never considered a material activity. He's acting on the Brahmabhuta platform. The devotee is already liberated. And it seems we're talking again about a neophyte devotee here. But then in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, Ashochiti Nakangshati. So where is that? Where are all of these neophyte devotees who are without any lamentation, any hankering, or any lamenting? But here we're talking about that the devotee, he's acting on the Brahmabhuta platform, already liberated, doesn't need to practice anything else. So now we could go the route of saying that, well, they're practicing the thing which gets them to that stage. So is that the way we go to answer it? Is there a better way to answer this? I'm sorry, I should know by now.
Anyone who's fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, he's already on the Brahman platform. Therefore, Prabhupada is quoting there.
Okay.
Mamchayo Vyabhacharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Anyone who's engaged in my service. Sagunan Samiti Chaitanya. He transcends the modes of material nature, Brahma-bhuta, because he's come to this Brahma-bhuta stage.
And so is the key thing there, and to fix like where it's not fitting to me in my experience or what I see, is the piece that I'm missing that we're talking about when fully engaged. Because there's some who are engaged in devotional service, but the modes of nature still affecting them to some degree, hankering, lamenting. So is it like the fully engaged part that I need to understand?
Sagunan Mamchayo Vyabhacharena. Just the only qualification is Vyabhachari. That one is steady in Krishna consciousness.
Steady in Krishna consciousness.
Mm.
Okay. And even after hearing that verse, if someone says, when you're studying Krishna consciousness is automatically, at this stage, then someone may say, there seems to be a discrepancy from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. And would we have anything else to say about that? Would anyone online like to say anything about this too? If not, then we can go on to the next text. Naveen can read. Or Saraswati, do you have someone, or would you like to read? Do you have something in mind? You're in charge.
No, I was just thinking when Srila Prabhupada talked about the unplugging of the fan, although the rotation of the blades may still carry on, but the fact that you've disconnected,
Yeah.
so eventually the fan will stop. You're in the process, you've already unplugged.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, you're doing the thing. Yeah, you're doing the right thing. You've unplugged the fan. So now it's just time. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts? Anyone else? Or Saraswati, would you like to lead us next? Choosing a speaker? Naveen is available if you'd like to.
Yes, and I was also having some thoughts about that question from Priti Purnam Advi Mataji. Didn't we read that it was Lord Vishnu that he actually saw, who came and graced the arena with his presence? And were we not told that he is situated in the Dasya Rasa with Lord Vishnu? I think that's what we read before.
Yes, Lord Vishnu. Yeah, here it is mentioned Lord Krishna. So that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lord Krishna is the source of all the incarnation. So, as they say, sometimes simultaneously one with and different. There's Vishnu Tattvas. Anyway, we have a comment.
Krishna, it was mentioned in the previous verse. Krishna was directly mentioned, the object of worship.
Thank you, Guru.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Yeah, I'll read it. I have missed the previous verses. Yeah, I'll go over.
We do have something in the chat box from Praveen Prabhuji. Sagunan Samityaten, is it in the progressive tense, meaning he would soon cross over the modes, or already crossed? Guru Maharaj, that's a question.
Repeat it for me, please, one more time.
Sagunan Smatityayitan, is it in the progressive tense, meaning he would soon cross over the modes, or already crossed? Praveen is asking.
I'm not trained in Sanskrit grammar, so I can't answer that for you. As far as I can see, it's not in progressive. It's just simple present.
Okay.
We can proceed to text 10. Is there somebody there that could read text 10?
Yes, Naveen can read text 10. Why don't you closer?
Thank you.
And now up here. Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhakti Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Bhavat. Translation. Maharaj Prithu thus engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to principles, 24 hours daily. Thus his love and devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna developed and became unflinching and fixed. Purport. The word Bhagavad Dharmina indicates that the religious process practiced by Maharaj Prithu was beyond all pretensions. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 112, Dharma Projita Kataivotra. Religious principles which are simply pretentious are actually nothing but cheating. Bhagavad Dharminaha is described by Veera Raghava Acharya as Nivritta Dharmin, which indicates that it cannot be contaminated by material aspiration. As described by Srila Rupa Goswami, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Kamadina Pritam Anukuyen Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. When one who is not inspired by material desires and is not contaminated by the processes of fruitive activity and empiric speculation, fully engages in the favorable service of the Lord, his service is called Bhagavad Dharma, or pure devotional service. In this verse, the word Brahmani does not refer to the impersonal Brahman. Impersonal Brahman is a subordinate feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And since impersonal Brahman worshippers desire to merge into the Brahman effulgence, they cannot be considered followers of Bhagavad Dharma. After being baffled in his material enjoyment, the impersonalist may desire to merge into the existence of the Lord, but a pure devotee of the Lord has no such desire. Therefore, a pure devotee is really Bhagavad Dharmi. It is clear from this verse that Maharaj Prithu was never a worshipper of the impersonal Brahman, but was at all times a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavati Brahmani refers to one who is engaged in devotional service to the personality of Godhead. A devotee's knowledge of the impersonal Brahman is automatically revealed, and he is not interested in merging into the impersonal Brahman. Maharaj Prithu's activities and devotional service enabled him to become fixed and steady in the discharge of devotional activities without having to take recourse to karma, jnana, or yoga. I have no comments at the moment.
One comment just before we go on to anything on for this verse of purport, regarding Preeti Purnamataji's question about what form of the Lord was being worshipped, and Maharaj mentioned that Krishna was mentioned directly, and so it looks like that was in text 7, where it said Arad the Yeshu Krishna. So simply desiring Lord Krishna. So I actually mentioned Krishna in that verse to text 7. But I don't want
Yes,
to.
thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you.
Guru Maharaj, do you have anything, any comments for this particular verse?
No, I don't.
We could proceed to text 11, Guru Maharaj, but it's a couple of pages long. Would you suggest that we start the closing kirtana?
I don't mind.
Is there somebody there that would like to lead the closing kirtan?
I'm sure we must have some.
You don't want to be last kirtan?
I want to hear you.
Okay.
Would either of you like some penalty also?
I can't drink anything more.
Sure. Yeah, I'll grab you a cup. You leave big one.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotarashta Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotarashta Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samadeta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you to all the Vaishnavas for joining our Sangha. Hope to see everybody tomorrow for tomorrow's Bhagavatam class. Holiness Jayādvaita Maharaj Shri Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.